Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and this is going to be my detailed review and install of the aFe Mach Force XP single-side exit catback exhaust system available for your 2015 and newer 5-liter powered F150. In typical exhaust review fashion, guys, we're going to break down the sound profile you can expect from the aFe system. We're going to talk a little bit more about the construction and materials, and then finally we'll cover some of the big points of the installation. And right on the surface, aFe does include a few different pieces of extension pipe, which will save you from cutting depending on your cab and bed size. That's going to make the installation even easier. So 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter with some more detail later on. So the aFe Mach Force XP is going to be a great choice for the Coyote-powered truck owners out there for a couple of different reasons. Now guys, first and foremost, this is going to be a great middle-of-the-road option when it comes to single-exit catbacks when it does come time to talk about price. In fact, it does feature a build quality and materials that, in my opinion, will exceed that $500 price tag. In addition to that, this thing is going to produce a very awesome tone and plenty of volume despite that single-exit configuration. But first, a little background here on aFe, or Advanced Flow Engineering. Now, they haven't been around as long as some of the other big name brands in the category, but their popularity has definitely risen here in recent years, more specifically in the truck aftermarket. I would say their specialty is without a doubt going to be in the exhaust and intake field, but they have kind of expanded their brand here in recent years. But since we are focusing in on the exhaust for the purposes of this video, let's break down the sound profile a little bit more with the single exit system. And honestly guys, I have nothing bad to say about the single exit aFe Mach Force. In fact, quite the opposite. I really enjoyed the tone from this system here. It produced a very deep tone overall, and one that's good for a solid 3 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to wake the neighbors scale. Again, you're not going to peg the decibel meter here with the single exit system, but it will certainly turn a few heads when you're on the throttle. Now, sound aside, you are looking at a very well executed system from the design to the materials and ultimately the fitment and price. You're getting 409 grade stainless steel here with the aFe, a lot better than that aluminized steel construction that you can sometimes find in the entry level or value market at this price point. Now, that 409 grade stainless will be a little better at reducing corrosion, of course, but it's not going to be immune, especially if you live in a saltier climate or your truck sees a lot of road salt during the winter months. Now, if you do see a lot of road salt, my advice to you would be to pony up a couple extra bucks. Go with the system that's going to deliver full 304 grade stainless steel, because ultimately that's going to be your best bet when it does come time to reducing corrosion. Going even further with the construction, you're going to find a pretty unique situation here when it comes time to talk about the piping. And what I mean by that is you're looking at 3 inches leading into the single inlet, single outlet muffler before stepping up into the 3.5 inch diameter tubing, all mandrel bent, exiting out your single 4-inch tip here, featuring the aFe plaque that has been riveted on. Just gives it a little bit more of a unique look. Now, aFe claims that this muffler is something that they use with a few other systems, including their dual outlet system on the site, and it is designed in a way to help absorb higher pitched noises. And in my opinion, the sound clips that we gave you at the beginning of this video tend to back that up, because as I pointed out, this is definitely a deeper sounding system overall. I do want to point out that aFe claims you're going to gain up to 9 horsepower and 17 foot-pounds of torque when bolting up their single exit system, but I don't want you guys to get hung up on power numbers or expect some kind of crazy gains here, because a lot of the times that's going to be best case scenario. Instead, you're looking at minimal gains at best when going with an aftermarket catback. But what you can expect instead, and what you all should expect, is obviously that change to your exhaust tone, along with a slight change to your appearance as well. Let's quickly touch on pricing here before we get into the installation. And as I mentioned at the very top of this video, great middle of the road system in the land of single exit catbacks. You're dropping in the mid $500 price range for the aFe, which in my opinion is a great value. Now, if you want, you can spend an extra 50 bucks and get the same exact system but with a black tip instead, if that's a look you prefer. All right, now let's talk about that installation a little bit more. And as I pointed out, again, this one isn't gonna test you too much, guys. So expect a soft 1 out of 3 wrenches on the overall scale of difficulty here, and maybe an hour or 2 from start to finish when it comes time to removing that factory system and getting the aFe in place. A couple things that will make this install a little bit easier. First and foremost, this is a factory exit system, and what I mean by that is you're not adding extra hangers or dealing with extra piping like you would would with a dual exit system, so expect this one to be very cut and dry. In addition to that, aFe does include those extension pipes we talked about a little bit earlier. Instead of making this pipe a lot longer and then having the owner cut the pipe, they give you some additional piping, which makes your life easier and means you won't have to break out the Sawzall or the eye protection. So again, these couple of factors here will definitely aid in making this thing a little bit easier to bolt up to your truck. Now, I'm not going to go over step by step how to install this thing, but what I can tell you is reference those instructions first, of course, remove that factory system, and then get to work installing the new aFe in reverse order. I always like to recommend starting from front to back. Get the entire system hung first, including the muffler first, followed by your tailpipe here. Save your final tighten up to the very end, and you should be good to go. In my opinion, the Mach-Force XP from aFe is a can't-miss system for all the fans of the single-exit catbacks out there, and here's why. First and foremost, the materials, construction, and fitment are all on point for that mid-$500 price tag. On top of that, the sound is right where you want to be for a big V8 powered truck. So that is my review of the aFe Mach-Force XP single-exit system, which you can get right here at AmericanMuscle.com.